Namaste, beloveds. Thank you for joining us in this holy light of purpose, our only purpose, our one goal, to the recognition of divine nature. As we join in this light and focus on the light, the infinite light that we are, this deep looking with Jesus, that we can hear his voice. When we focus on this infinite light within, he's always with us. And Marguerite said so beautifully this morning in the session, I have to hear it through my brother that I can't hear it for myself. Yet the power is that your brother is yourself. Because there's only one. And this is what Jesus is pointing to so beautifully, that when we focus on this light, the light within, and see the abject power of our divinity, of divine nature that expresses, that is expressing as love in the retranslated world that's translated by the Holy Spirit. Infinite light, the light within all beings. So that's what we come together. Yeah, I remember when Jesus appeared in this mystical vision, as he does for all of us, he comes in the way we need him to come. And he placed this light in my hands, this blue light, and said to me, do this in memory of me. And as we're starting, like for here, first of all, I didn't know much about Jesus at all. Other than I'd started the Course in Miracles, and he places this blue light in my hands. And then he says, I can hear him say, do this in memory of me. It's like, what is that? And then I realized, do this in memory of me is to extend this light as he has extended it. And it was blue because I didn't know what the light was. I needed a symbol for color, because infinite light has no color. Yet it's so powerful. Just thinking of light, that's how powerful the light is. I told Vicky Poppy about it, and she says, all I do now all the time is focus on that blue light. And the power of that blue light, and I can see for myself immediately, it was Jesus pointing to that light. And the power of this light, that we can focus on it too. And to really trust him. So I trusted him next time I was coaching in that prison system. I wasn't looking for God in prison, but I guess I am in the ways of the world. And that was the form that was given, to start really to listen and follow Jesus, follow the light within. And when the next time I went in, I didn't know it was Jesus at the time, really. But now I know it's Jesus, because only Jesus would say, okay, now extend your hands. You're in a coaching session. Extend your hands out and say to the man who came in, who was upset because his mother died, and say to him, okay, we're just going to put our hands together and we're going to focus on the light and put every thought, feeling, emotion that you have in this light. Because there is just known, we know that this light can burn everything. So he placed, I guess I wasn't totally sure, but I knew enough at that point to follow the instructions. And he placed the thoughts, feelings, emotions, everything in that light. And it was like 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds. And then I said to him, well, what happened in this light that we share? It was so amazing. We're holding our hands together, cupped, like that symbol, that joining and light symbol. And he started talking like God. It's like, and he already knew his next steps, and he was at peace, and he could hear the Holy Spirit download. And, it was such a good lesson for here, that, and it kept happening. don't know if you watched that video, but I made about the joining in light symbol. But like the next man comes in and he's upset about being in prison for 30 years. And the same thing, place it in the light. He was so mad because they weren't letting him out of prison. I was like, this is really symbolic, Jesus, because what a metaphor. Nobody's letting me out of prison. And Jesus is saying, you have the keys. It took me a while to realize, oh, wait, I've got the keys to the kingdom. It was so powerful to see how quick, and that my brother, in the symbol of light, I mean, I just like learned about love in prison. I just felt so much love. I go there and feel so much love. Yet when I would leave the prison, I could still see that I was in prison. Imprisoned by my idea of myself. And so now we come together. Jesus has just helped me understand the power of joining with my brother to see what's true, and the power that we carry this light. And that it's helpful to have symbol like blue light until we see we are light. There is only light. And to follow him in extending this light at all times to everyone, because that's our function, is to extend the light. So that was just a helpful symbol here. It still is a helpful symbol given by Jesus to focus on the light and the power we have. And this is the celebration. Then there were light circles and just amazing things, right? As soon as just whatever the thoughts, the feelings, emotions, placed in the light. And so I thank him for this. And for everyone coming together to say, okay, all this is seeing what's true. What is true here? And so tonight's session is, okay, so let's just take a look at physical pain. Let's go deeply, because that is where, well, in so many ways, in the diversity of consciousness, that the ego can hide, seemingly hide or attempt to hide. We can abdicate the almighty power that we have. And so then it seems to be showing up in form, throwing up, diarrhea, physical pain, somewhere in the body. Because of that identification with ourselves as a solid object. And I love this in the Course. And I keep asking Jesus, it's just like so exciting. He says, well, is it possible to transcend pain? Physical pain. It's like, yes. So like all the beings I'm talking to, and they go, oh, I have this pain. You know, I feel this in my body. Or it's like, yes, you know, we do. But now we know that it's desired experience. And that is the key, because until it's seen that it's desired, we will feel powerless. We'll feel like something outside of ourselves is doing something. And then the mind will go, well, the identity will go, well, let me see if I can find something. See, it's going to start looking for a something outside of myself that's going to fix this. Am I going to go to a doctor? Am I going to find a therapist? Maybe it's a holistic practitioner. And really, like, Jesus is not saying that's quote unquote bad necessarily, because if we're going to be fearful about it, he's saying do it, because there's no forcing by spirit. We can see, we're looking at the light that's here, really learning to focus on the light that's here and see the truth. We're the light first, before a body comes about. Infinite light. And if we query on the infinite light, does infinite light, infinite love, and just listen for that little small voice inside, does it know pain? In truth, Let's ask. Jesus, is pain true? In our direct experience as light beings, when we see it, we can say it. Is pain true in our direct experience? Nothing made up. You don't have to say what you're not knowing, but is it true to the light? My experience is when I ask, no. Light doesn't know anything about pain. It's like, oh, wow, okay. So now there's something that knows pain is not true. Who's that? Who's that one that knows? And then there's, but Jesus, I have a pain in my foot now. What you going to do about it? But we are getting to the point of going, okay, so here's what's appearing in form. Divine light doesn't know, our true nature doesn't know what pain is. So what do? Well, Jesus says in the Course, you can't ask to heal the symptom because it's at the level, the belief that there's pain and that pain exists is the universal problem, because it's not just pain in the body, it's emotional pain, it's every kind of pain is untrue to divine being. So then we ask, show me the underlying desire. He's going deep on desire on this. Before you can look at belief. But when you see that it's desired experience and we're really present with asking Jesus, okay, Jesus, let's just see. If there's anyone experience pain, we can ask in our heart, Jesus, show me the desire for this experience of pain. Just see what happens. Where am I withholding love from myself? Where am I holding love from myself in this experience, this sensation? So I was doing that with them, right? I was like throwing up nonstop. Let's see if I can remember what he told me specifically. Oh, I'm trying to remember what Jesus told me at the time when I was throwing up. I'd been throwing up, because it just seems like as soon as we go deeper, like all this stuff, it's like a firestorm of physical symptoms. We have to be on to it really quick. Like, okay, this is desired somehow. So tell me, help me find. And Jesus, since he knows where all the bones are buried, when we ask him, we can do this with a mighty companion too. They can ask you these questions. Okay, what's the desire for the experience? And just really be very present with the feeling. And just keep asking, how is this denying love for myself? Jesus, will you show me the underlying beliefs? And just listen really carefully. He'll start dealing them out one by one. Just take them one by one. Don't let the pain, like the pain's our own distraction from really hearing Jesus. That's what he told me. He says, you're trying to block out my voice. Trying to use pain but I couldn't anymore. And the other thing that I found, like with this and this other thing where I had hurt my foot, is I would ask him, well, am I to go to the hospital, or, how do I, and he's no, because you start to see that the solution is not in form. It's not like, I just knew, you just start to see that you've cleared so many beliefs that you almost can't do it without looking at the beliefs. I think Judith said something about that too. You start to get onto it to know that you have to look directly at the desire for the experience below. So it's like, okay, Jesus, and he's telling me, he tells me directly, yes, you wanted to try and break your foot. You wanted that experience. Okay. You wanted the experience. So I ask him, okay, what's the desired experience? It's some pattern. If you notice too on pain, that's not the first time you've experienced it. It's a pattern that was another thing I started to notice. It's a recurring pattern, like that throwing up or like a headache, like seemingly like I was having like these migraine headaches. And I have posted these on videos on YouTube where I literally asked Jesus, okay, what do I want, for myself, and ask him, to dig down. Like on the vomiting, he was telling me, okay, this is a form of projection, which makes sense. It's symbolic of trying to get something out of yourself, to prove separation by a form of physical projection. Yeah. So until it's really looked at, these recurring symptoms will reappear. And it will be quite a display for most of us. I don't know, I can't say for all, but I'm trusting Jesus. And I hear Jesus saying, yes. It's like a lot of fireworks, but we have to start seeing it as, oh, Lisa, good that you came. Hello. So we have to start really looking directly at it. At least we don't have to do anything, but Jesus is recommending it. So you can really, because once you start seeing that pain's not real and that it's in causality with the idea of beliefs, Jesus, show me the beliefs underlying this feeling. I'll just pause and we can just ask for each of us, whatever tension, the slightest tension in the body somewhere, slightest discomfort, just ask them. Give me the list. And then when he starts revealing it, just place it in the light. Is this true? Does divine being know this belief to be true? You can ask him. Whatever belief. Like at the example, he said, okay, you want a feeling of control and a feeling of being out of control and being controlled through this pain in your foot. So I'm going to ask him, Jesus, is there any, let me see if there's any of that left. And then I ask him, Jesus, is there any of this kind of energy of wanting to have an experience of being controlled or out of control by this? And he tells me yes or no. Okay, he's telling me yes, because I have a little bit of pain in my foot, okay, when I walk a certain way. And then I ask him, can I give that over to you? Oh my gosh, love responds and says, yes. It gets so much fun, really, because you see the love that's, that tight holding on to identity. And when it's released, it's like this love. And as I said in one of my videos, I've taken a lot of aspirin, but I have never felt the level of love that I felt after working with Jesus on a headache. That it freed. It was like, oh. Okay, Jesus, show me. It can't be a maybe. That's what Jesus, I can hear him saying, this can't be it. Divinity isn't a maybe. It is. It's what we are. It's this light that's here. Feel the level of peace, of knowing. I mean, that is like the stronghold of the ego. I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be sick and then I'm going to die. Okay, it's okay to die, just so I don't hurt and be sick before I die. You know, think of those thoughts, right? They're like creeping around in there. So let's ask the divinity first, in the light that we are, okay? Does the divine light know death that we are, that's celebrating here in our direct experience? And don't let the ego say anything. Learn whose voice is talking. Because you're light first. We're the light. That's what Jesus is saying. You are the light first. Okay? And then keep inquiring on that, dropping every idea and going, I am not a body. What am I? I am not a body. What am I? Just listen. And if you keep asking this question, perhaps you've already had this experience. Uji calls it a love kiss from the inside. Just marinate in that light like we're doing every night. It's like, he also says you're getting used to your formlessness. We're so used to being an object. And that's why those convincers deep in the subconscious mind are going to show up in the body. Because that is really deep. Jesus talks about it in, I think it's chapter 16 is on pain. It's all pain and pleasure. Pleasure's pain, it's all the same. The desire to experience pain, which underneath pain is rage. And I asked him, am I rageful about this? He goes, yep. It's really fun when it's really fun. It really gets fun. So that's the experience here. You start laughing. I mean, I just start laughing when he tells me. I ask him, okay, is that all right? And he goes, no. And you just laugh because you start to discern that voice. If there's a voice that's telling you that pain is real, just ignore that voice. You got to see past it. No, Jesus Christ, the most powerful power within consciousness, is on my side in this. So you have to ignore the world, because the world's going to tell you, because the doubt thoughts come up legendary. There are going to be so many doubt thoughts coming up, and they're going to be reflected out in the world about what pain is. Pain is true. You got to live with it. You got to take a pill. And you may be advised, follow Jesus. He knows where you need the help. And there can be an experience where you do go see someone and it's a holy encounter, because it's always the holy encounter. It's just he's pointing to, here's the most direct way. You know, you want to go home fast? See that pain's is a desired experience. A pain in a foot, whatever it is. That's the fast way home, because the ego's doesn't think about, when you know that pain's not real, game over for identity. That it's you, and he says, you're holding on. Pain is holding on like this to a piece of personal identity. It's putting the clog in the drain of that free flow of energy, of well, you can call it energy, but expression of divine being. It's beyond energy, because energy is in time and space. We're talking outside time and space. But it seems within the play of consciousness, you could talk that way. That it's like in consciousness, if you talk there, because that's where we are. We believe we're in consciousness. We believe we're a body. And we can recognize a contraction and a relaxation. And you can start to notice as you're really present with the experience of pain, a physical symptom, just observe it. We can get curious about it. If we look from the perspective of infinite light at a symptom, and he was showing me this, look at it like, how do you feel when you look at it as an infinite light? What's the sensation like? And then really identify with the pain, with a me and a pain. And you'll see that, at least the experience here, is the pain will amplify. But when it's looked at as the light, the whole characteristic of it changes. So part of it is not to identify with what's arising, the changing. See that we're the ones who are given the energetic power to the experience. And by working with Jesus, we're withdrawing the energetic investment in that part of the identity. It's an objection to divine identity. It's wanting to hold on to a physical body and prove it real. I'm going to prove this is real by having this physical symptom, but we don't know it. And we need Jesus's help to dig down under there to find that belief. Jesus, show it to me. So we need his help with that. That's why this relationship, he's working with us through these light circles. Because the body identification is such a quote unquote strong base, because the ego made the body. And so part of the ego's plan, of course, is to have that convincing that your body is real. So we don't deny that the body's real. We don't deny it. We just ask us, like Jesus said, I am not a body. What I am, what am I? So we have that revealing that we're not really. We aren't. We aren't a body. In our direct experience, in these light circles as light beings. And then he's giving us a means to go, okay, to show us that pain is the divine light's perfectly willing to do that, because it's not true. It's an investment in the dream of identity. Pain is an investment. Physical pain in the body is an investment. I'm trying, as Jesus said in the whole Course in Miracles, trying to prove, God, you are wrong. I'm right. This body's real. So we can ask Jesus again, think of a thought about something that feels really uncomfortable, might have arisen. Maybe nothing has, because we go through times of perfect peace. And it's like, Jesus, what happened? I was like so relaxed and calm, and now my head hurts like heck. It's just, we've asked for these pieces of personal identity, the old patterns of identification to come up. And it's like, okay, this is an opportunity to go deep. And just take the opportunity and join with the mighty, or really join with Jesus to ask. So we'll ask him again, Jesus, is there any pain that I've been feeling, or any kind of discomfort at all that I need to see? What's underlying it? Please show me any identity around any desire for this experience of pain in the body. He says, when you look deeply, you'll see that there's a belief that there's salvation in it. There's a belief that salvation lies through pain in the body. Jesus, please reveal to us the desire for salvation through pain in the body. I'm willing to see that I believe safety lies in this pain. Safety from God. He says in the Course that illness, quote unquote, in the body is some kind of seeking. It's a horizontal move. Again, movement to try to get salvation through form, with the belief deep in the subconscious mind that illness in a body is salvation. He says that in the Course. So he's just pointing, as always, that it can't be solved at the level of form. It's really seeing that solution is before form began. And that form is merely reflecting out those thoughts, feelings, and desires that are below the level of awareness, which we're looking at that's why these light circles are so powerful, because if you keep asking Jesus and he keeps revealing to you, you know the jig's up. You just start seeing. There was not too long ago, like these cycles. It's really interesting. But now we're just we're turning everything to holy purpose. It's so powerful. It's like, I'm going to look deeply at this now. I'm not going to get hoodwinked myself. and so, boy, there's like this cycling. It would just be the most intense squeeze. Like I felt like I was just being squeezed. Like somebody took oh, now Jesus is telling me you were just replaying an old, pattern from a past life of being tortured. Oh, nice. We don't know how these things come, but we just look. Oh, yes, I guess I knew that at the time. Another dream. And another dream, I was playing the game. Oh, the game of let's be tortured. These cycles, victim and victim either. We start seeing these. So anyway, so then it would move. It'd be like, and then I'd pray on it, and look at all the beliefs on that one. Then it would go to the, here and the head and it's like, Jesus, I worked on the head. What happened? But we have to like really see past all of that and just go directly. Okay, this is what's arising right now. And then I also ask him, do I need to look at that or not? Because sometimes he says, no. No need to give time or space to that. So I'll ask him and then, but in this case, everyone, and I just took as much time with him. I'd ask him, Jesus, is it in purpose to look at this? He'd say, yes, is it in purpose? And I can hear him talking now. He's going, this is your function. To release all the, so it's, I hear him like heaven celebrating best use of time, all the things that he said. Best use of time. Is this true? Is this true? Is this true? And when you listen to them and you hear when that bird lands in your heart, not true on pain. It's like, oh my gosh, self-created, where you really, we can read about in the Course as much as we want, but creating the space to let that land in the heart and then feel the release as these body identification ideas are like burned through with the spirit. You feel just for here, it's like you see that abject power that we're granted by the Father that cannot be stopped unless we say, okay, I'm going to accept this as real, this pain. It's like we've been talking about, no, we're not. Not going to accept it. So that's what has spontaneously arisen about really these deep look at pain. And I think it's chapter 16, really, he just delves into it. And that's what we're here for. Like any pain, I'm willing, I'm going to put that, the slightest twitch, I'm putting it with all my beloved brothers. And I feel so much love saying that and seeing all your shining faces out there to be in full support that it's not true. And this incredible gift that we've been given through A Course in Miracles, that somehow we called to this to see that pain is not true and that infinite love doesn't know what that is. And so thus, we do not need to experience it. I ask Jesus right now, Jesus, do we need to experience pain? No. Not unless you desire it, because it's part of wanting to maintain the dreaming experience. Mm-hmm. That's worth the Alleluia chorus right there. So we're here to support each other, however that happens, and joining, uncovering the beliefs, the desire for the experience, to quickly transcend these things together. That's what we've come together for, Jesus says. And to just hear that forgotten song. Of how much the Father loves us. And to see that pain is only a thought, a miscreation. It's just deep tension. And I did notice that. I saw Janet yawning. Yawning is so appreciated in the circle, I'm going to tell you. Because it's, because society, oh, it's rude or whatever, you're sleeping. No, it's a release of that deep tension. Hey, look at Lisa giving me a thumbs up. You're seeing that too. But that's what I started to notice. And I'd be present with Jesus, each pain that would arise, because it would roll. And I'd just start to yawn. And then it would just, because I was, that identity's tension. So yawning is welcome. At least the yawning that's in purpose, of course. The ego can play yawning games too. But that yawning for the release, oh, we're so in. Yawn away. That's what we're here to, wouldn't that be just kind of you yawn a few times and like, oh, okay, nothing happened. Because there's such an idea, this is going to be painful and horrible and everything. And I really had to look with Jesus too and see all the desire for a painful wake-up experience. Because that's part of the dream. Part of the desire is desire to experience sleeping and the desire to experience waking up. Because if we look at infinite light, does infinite light have a desire for sleeping or waking up? It's like, no, we see the light doesn't know that. So this is really powerful to look with all of you. And I thank you for jumping on board to, we're going to go deep on this pain thing. Just like, let no stone be unturned by Jesus. That's what we're here for. So I'm so grateful that you jumped on board so we can support each other as we go forward to really peel off those, support each other and really looking deeply at the untruth of pain. It's any kind of physical pain in the body, because we are transcending density of a body. Amen. Oh, you go. So maybe there's someone here else who would like to share on their experience. Oh, here comes Annie on looking at pain. Okay.
Okay, so I really sort of got the pain, like I desired the pain, because it comes to prove I'm a victim, which comes from the attempt to abdicate responsibility and to prove there are two powers, that two powers exist. So, like, there is like an opposite power to God. There's not a singular power. So at the base of that, and I kind of, I'm not sure how to bring that to Jesus. I'm not sure whether I'm willing to receive the answer yet, too. I feel like there's some sort of resistance to receiving the answer, to seeing, you know, can two powers really exist? So
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
I guess it's just allowing that resistance to come up then, which is still fear of redemption, basically, or the desire to stay separate, still being held on to.
And that for here is always why, for here to just check in and see, even if I have the most strongest resistance, is infinite light still here?
See, I have a bit of problem with that, because I feel like when I say that, it's just a concept, the infinite light. I don't feel like I see it or know it. Like it's a bit of a concept to me, or I'll, you know, or there'll be a bit of an image of it or something. I feel like I'm using my finite mind to see whether something's infinite. Like I did when I was a kid, I used to try and imagine infinity, but I realized I was using the finite mind to try and imagine infinity. So yeah, so I feel a bit stuck with that, about that.
Yeah, and we can ask for Jesus's help on that as well, because that's what he's preparing us for, these light circles. We keep seeing what's true, like coming and reeling all the beliefs, all the noise. So he comes from two angles. One, clearing out the noise and just going, like even lesson 44, I think it's 189. There's several of those lessons that are worth just doing every night, where he says, just drop everything and come into the light with me.
I feel like at the moment, like I had extreme defense against a really strong reaction of guilt and fear, and it's like you talk about contraction and tensioning, and so I've had like these major, you know, contractions and tensioning and been in hell. I'm only just sort of coming out of this hell realm that I've been in for 16 years. It's starting to loosen at last. So I don't, like, I'll do those lessons, but I feel like I am the bound thing. So I don't feel like I make contact, you know, like there's conscious contact or perception of the light at all. Like, you know, I know they're beliefs, but it's like all your chakras are pulled in completely. Like there's tensioning in in your third eye, and my solar plexus is completely gripped in and stuff like, and lower belly and stuff. I know they're kind of symbolic ideas and stuff, but that's how it's experienced. So I might say a word and I might get a little bit of relaxation. My mind might sort of relax a little bit, but it's not like a dissolution of that tensioning or, and I don't get the sense of, because I have had light experiences, so I sort of feel like I kind of know the difference between when I really have made contact or not, or been in the presence, but maybe I'm just deluding myself about that too. I don't know.
Well, your expression is so beautiful because this is it's helpful for everyone to see it's a common experience. So the real beauty is like the trust that you've placed in Jesus to keep showing you.
Yeah, at the moment I feel like I'm just chipping away, and maybe there's little threads, maybe sort of subtle loosening sort of thing.
Yeah, you are the divine light first. You are that. You're light first. We're just so used to following the thoughts. And that's why if you notice in lesson 44, Jesus says, drop all thoughts.
Yeah, that feels impossible at the moment because of the tensioning. Like I feel like the tensioning is a thought, and it feels impossible for me to just drop it. It feels like I am it at the moment. Even I can tell myself I'm the light as much as possible. Yeah, I mean, as much as I want to, but.
So you're correct, because we have a concept of what the light is. We do, because that's the whole ego's plan, is to say, I'm the light, by the way. Yet the experience that we have where we know that there's something beyond this world, we've all had. Have we had those?
Yeah.
Everyone's had. So you kind of know. So that's the place to go, because that's the real you. The real you knows there's something beyond this world. That's here all the time. The you that knows that there's a real world all the time is always here. It's just that we're so used to following thought and playing in the consciousness, the thought forms, and comparing thought forms, and that we forget the one who is watching the thought forms.
Yeah, I mean, there was a period of time when I really was, before I went into this really big, that I was getting back. I was much more spacious. And there was this deep listening presence sort of occurred. And I felt not so identified with the character in the dream, and everything did get dreamier sort of thing. And I did feel more back. But at the moment, it's like your conscious, it's like your whole consciousness feels like it gets pulled into that. When that reaction came up, it's like my whole consciousness sort of got pulled into this really. So it's like, it's as if, I guess, if I'm sort of, the real me's back here sort of thing, and I'm out, but it feels like I'm right out in my face, or pulled out into the screen sort of thing, instead of back from the screen, where you are much more the witness and the observer, and I guess you'd call that the dreamer.
The dreamer. I mean, yes. It seems for a time that the light is something that comes and goes. What comes and goes is the investment in identity. So there's an idea that the ego is a permanency. Yet if it's looked at closely, it's seen that it's clusters of thought that are being lived inside like it's real. So the actual identity is that spaciousness. It's just that we're so used to jumping on board the thought wagon, the comparison wagon. So we're just, it's like if we just step off the thought wagon for a minute, regardless of what we feel, because infinite love is before feeling. It's before we were born. Who was I? That's why they asked, who was I before I was born? And we're paying really close attention to that spaciousness. And we can feel it if we have one thought of joining with a brother, that you are joined with a brother. See how you feel. I am joined with Judith. Just notice, I'm joined with Judith. I'm going to join with Renee too at the same time in my mind, because I have the power to do so. And join with Leah. Just keep joining. Just notice what happens. I'm joined with Lisa. In my mind with Janet. With Mike. With Nikki. And just notice. With Janet. With Mike. Just notice what happens. This is a good thing to do when you're experiencing pain. Just have that one thought of joining. And see how the very experience itself will shift. It's almost like that thought of joining that Jesus is giving. Well, it is that. It's the denial of separation. It's pointing back to us already being joined. And then we can ask the question, when I'm joined with Leah, what answer do I get back about death? When I have that one thought of being joined with Leah, or that one thought with Annie. Annie and I are joined. I feel happy just thinking that thought. When I'm joined with Annie, can I feel separate? In my experience, no. It's like very expansive experience. That's why he keeps saying, join with your brother, join in mind with your brother. It'll break up that pattern. Yeah, go ahead, Annie.
Yeah, no, that feels really helpful.
And we're always, like now we see each other's faces, we always have that memory. Like, this is how the Spirit's going to use this memory. No, I was in that light circle. I know I'm joined. And from the perspective of being joined, like you and me, or that happiness, it just gets more and more happiness. I find when the more beings I add in there, if I'm not feeling, and I just add them all in, I go, no, I can see that I'm joined with them. So let me put this thought that I can be separate inside that thought of the two of us joined. Like, oh my God, it's so freeing. And then ask, when those minds are joined and I'm in that joining, it's just a helpful tool Jesus is giving within consciousness, the power within consciousness. And then I ask, when I'm joined, when I feel that joining with Annie, can I die? What's the answer that comes? Can I feel limited when I'm joined in mind with Annie? Or Janet, can I feel limited? So in order to recognize something limited, it requires the unlimited. And you said so beautifully, Annie, so many beautiful things you said. And you said you knew you had an experience that was very expansive and that felt very unlimited. So we know what unlimited is. And that the finite could not see the limited. And that's wise, because it can't. But it takes infinite to know the finite. And that's the clue that points back to infinite nature. No matter how finite we feel, we recognize ourselves as finite, therefore we have to be infinite to recognize it. So really, thank you, Annie, for everything that you're saying. It's very holy. It's so holy. Does there anyone want to share their experience about looking at pain? Or we can just close with the resting join together. We are the Holy Son of God, as one, impossible to be separate. Even if it would be our deepest, darkest desire to be separate, it cannot happen. So as Jesus says, we must dream it. Yet we've tired of the dream now. We see that the dream is infinite wheel of samsara. So we come together in such this precious time together for the mind training. Focus on the light within. Focus on the light in your brother. This is perfect happiness. This celebration of the light that's here. Even if we're not sure what it is, you still know what it is because you're an infinite being, you know. But Annie said something beautiful. You can't find it within the idea of a person. The person can't ever find this because the person was made to deny it. We just keep celebrating and keep seeing the denials coming together. I want to see what's true. It is impossible within that willingness for a personal identity to maintain itself. It can scream, it can yell, it can throw fits, we can feel like we're sick. As long as we continually look, we'll see that it cannot overpower our divine nature. That there's something here that's so vast and so far beyond that identity that finally we just say, no, I'm not settling for this contracted pain. And Jesus has sent us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got a hand over there. 13. beings to come and say, no, we're going to stand in the light and truth together, and we're going all the way home. We're going only to be the light that we are. And that's our only function. And we love you for it. We love you for that dedication. Thank you, brothers.